But right about now, P.G. Sebastian, please let's welcome him. And he is speaking on, could your partner be having an affair? The telltale signs and what to do with them. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Are we excited to be here this evening? I am excited, and hopefully we are going to learn a few things. The idea is to create an impression that is not there. The idea is not to let you start suspecting your partner and then going home to start an unnecessary fight and then potentially break your home apart. The idea is to draw your mind onto a few things so that if there are things that are manifesting in your home, you may want to take certain steps to mitigate it. So, yes, my name is PG Sebastian. That's in Pa George. PG is Pa George. Like, I'm a typical fancy man, so my name is quite dramatic. Anyways, so could your spouse be having an affair? Before we get into that, before we look at some of the signs, the first thing I would like to do is to issue a few caveats, okay? I'd like to issue a few caveats. Otherwise, we may get this thing so wrong. The first thing is that when we are talking about human nature and we are talking about things that has to do with another individual, we don't normally talk in absolute, okay? You can't say it is what it is. 100% is correct. That is what I see, or that's what I suspect. So it is absolute. No. Human beings, you make allowance for, the possibilities, because things may appear to be something that they are not. So I think that's the first caveat I'd like to issue, that don't take everything in absolute, okay? Now, the second thing that I also like to talk about is that when it comes to affairs, infidelity, it is one of the cardinal issues in marriage. And if we want to look at it in the negative, we get to say it's one of the cardinal sins in marriage. And so before you accuse somebody of being unfaithful to you, you need hard facts. If you don't have hard facts, I beg you, don't go on that tangent. Because by the time you are done, the person will play it out so well that you will be the one who is insecure. You'll be the one who doesn't trust your partner. You'll be the one who is trying to be possessive. You'll be the one who is nagging. You'll be the one who needs to have a medical checkup. Everything will come back at you. And then you end up going to your pastor, and your pastor will sit you down. And the pastor that probably is supposed to help you also aggravates the situation. Everybody will make you feel like you are mad. Because you really can't put your finger on anything. So that's another caveat I'd like to issue, that if you don't have hard evidence, please don't go at your partner. Another caveat I also like to issue is the fact that there are certain people who naturally behave in particular way. It doesn't mean they are being unfaithful. Some people are naturally secretive, okay? Like, he's just secretive. Like, ordinary little things, they won't say it for everybody to hear. They'll go and stand by somebody and whisper it, and they will giggle, and then run away. And then ordinary chats that they have, they'll just be looking at it. Oh, this thing came off. Anyway, some of the gadgets are coming off. Ordinary chats that they are reading, they won't just read and, just have a straight face. They'll have all these emotions and all these whatever going on. And then you are sitting and you are thinking, what is he doing? What is she doing? It may be that the person is not talking to any guy. Your wife is not talking to any guy. Your husband is not talking to any woman. They are just dramatic. And they just act in very weird ways. You don't look at those things and then based on that, you judge that because they are being secretive, because all of a sudden 10 p.m. they are all excited, what's happening? For all you know, somebody has created a very funny WhatsApp page and divided them. So the fact that they are chatting on WhatsApp at 10 p.m. and there's this military-grade password on their phone doesn't mean they could be cheating. So, that's another caveat I also want to issue. Otherwise, you see your spouse chatting at 10 midnight, and then, right when they get up to go and pee, they lock the phone. They come back, they open it, and you are thinking, okay, you must be talking to some girl. No, it may not necessarily be so. So that's another caveat I'd like to say. And then the final one I would like to issue is the fact that in some relationships or in some marriages, there are certain things that are prevalent. They may not be in. When you see them putting up certain behaviors, it may not necessarily mean that the fact that your ex-boyfriend did it to you, when you see those things coming out in your husband, be like, yeah, I've seen you before. I've seen like 2 men like you before. And then you just go at them. Or if you see your wife have those behaviors or showing those symptoms or signs or whatever, then you go against them. No, please. So those are the caveats I would like to issue before we get into this, so that you pick some of these things in context. Of course, there are certain signs. Once you see them, we have a problem. When a particular number calls and it is never picked, and when this number is calling, it doesn't come once, it comes like twice or thrice, and that number is never saved. And whenever you ask, why don't you pick this particular number? No, it's some client. And as for you, you haven't finished sorting your client out. That every 8 p.m., 9 p.m., your client is calling. And they call 3 or 4 times. And that number is never saved. I know that Charlie. Or that particular number, anytime that number rings or pops up on the phone, whatever the guy is doing, he will have to answer the phone. And usually they don't answer it in your presence. Usually they pick it. Yeah, hello, let me call you back. Charlie, those ones, Charlie, you can't hide it. You can't hide it. And then people also go on the internet, go and do things. Because, of course, their phone, probably because you know the password, they don't do the WhatsApp on the phone, and they do the WhatsApp on the office laptop. And then right after they are done, you go into the browser and you can't find browser history. They've deleted everything. Charlie, they are hiding something. And then some people, they will tell you, oh, I am going here. And then by mistake, you also have this GPS that is connected to, this Google map. It's connected to your laptop, connected to the house Wi-Fi. So you can access where your partner is going anytime. And it says, oh, I'm going to Auntie Amma. Auntie Amma is at Laboni. But GPS says you are at Awoshi. There's no way GPS can confuse Laboni and Awoshi. You know that, people are hiding things. But anyway, those are the obvious ones. But there are certain things that are a little bit subtle, okay? And you need a lot more discernment, a lot more wisdom, a lot more tact to address them. Again, the things I'll be telling you, they may not happen in isolation. And you may not want to judge a person based on the manifestation of just one of them. You may want to put everything together. It's bits and pieces of science, because most often it is one and others, or a major one, and then you find ancillary ones all attached to it to actually paint a bigger picture. So it's very important that you look at these things in context. The very first thing I would like to talk about, the very first sign I would like to talk about is when your spouse all of a sudden loses interest in intimacy. Okay? And it is one thing when they lose interest in intimacy. It's another thing when they don't want to talk about it and they don't want to fix it. But then again, let me say that some of these things happen in context. If a woman has reached the age of menopause, naturally, it is possible that she may lose interest in sex. So when you see that, just measure the age and be sure. 26-year-old woman, you can't claim menopause. we have a problem. You understand? It is possible that your spouse could be going through a phase at work where there is intense stress. Maybe he's a finance director for his company. The company is going through some financial issues. Auditors have come and they are going through this, crazy audits for like 5 years. They are doing everything, and this audit is going to take like 3 months. During that period, if your husband or your wife knows that, Charlie, the way that thing is going, if I'm not careful, I can lose my job. Naturally, the last thing they want to talk about is sex. So, in these contexts, you may want to cut them some slack. But ordinarily, when they lose interest in sex, there is nothing, there is no financial problem at home. You guys haven't fought. There is no unresolved conflict. There is no change, tangible, measurable change around them. But all of a sudden, they just lose interest in sex. And they don't want to talk about it. That's the thing. They don't want to fix it. Sometimes I understand as a married person or as married people, sometimes you just drift off. But once one person brings it up, there is that urge to want to fix it. You just want to. But this person doesn't want to talk about it. It is possible. It is possible. They are getting it elsewhere. And for as long as they are getting it elsewhere, it is good. Well, brother, that's the end of your life, man. Oh, sister, another person is taking it. The other one, the reverse is also true. So that's another thing you need to watch. When all of a sudden, your spouse is excited about sex. Yeah? You used to take your 2 minutes like that and go. And then we cannot sleep. I give you 2 minutes, we sleep. 1 round, we sleep. All of a sudden, you want me to be doing that in plenty. All of a sudden, you want me to ensure that you reach orgasm. All of a sudden, you want 3 rounds. And it is like the demands tend to be a lot and within a short period. Again, it could be that she had a conversation at the salon. And girls were sharing their experience of orgasm. And madam realized that she hasn't orgasmed before. And now she's claiming it. It is also possible that boys gave him some video. And it is on his phone. And he's been watching it. And he's thinking, I can make it better. But otherwise, it is possible. Then again, you see, when somebody tells you something and you want to put it into practice, you don't normally get angry when your spouse resists it. Because you don't even have a locus. You haven't even tasted the thing. So what is the basis for the fight? But when a woman has gone out and another man has actually given her orgasm, and then she's probably felt bad and she's thinking, no, this orgasm, I have to get some in my marriage to make my marriage work. And it's not giving it. That's when it becomes a fight. And then you realize that she actually knows what she's saying. When the man is about to ejaculate, oh, Kofi, don't come. No, Kofi, stop. Hold on, Kofi, hold on, faster. Then you know that, madam, where's this one to coming from? Like, yo, what's up? Have you, like all of a sudden, this brother is interested in sex. All of a sudden, he wants to do that thing, turn you over, do it in some place, go here, come here, make it. Like, now he has problem with everything. It is possible. It is possible that he's gone out. It's when you go out, you go and talk to this, or you go and be with this other person, they open your eyes to so many things that for a long time in your marriage, you've taken it for granted. But you know, a lot of people do these things not because they want to break up their homes. They do these things because so many factors could have precipitated it. But when they go out, they still have a marriage to keep. And so then when they come home, they want to introduce these things they've learned outside into their marriages. Sometimes it's unconscious. But I mean, think about it. If you are with a woman who lies down like a log, do it, get up and go. Then accidentally, your secretary gives you some wild styles. And you realize that, hey, sex can be nice, Papa. And then you come and your wife is lying down like a log, my brother. Before you know, you'll be telling your wife to do something. And you wouldn't even realize you are demanding it. So that in itself gives you a clue that something could be going. Again, I'm saying that we are not taking these things in absolute. It's just a sign that something could be going on. Another thing is when there is a demand for spice. Spice. You know, like all of a sudden, the woman is aware of herself. The man is aware of himself. All of a sudden, they want more. They want to, introduce all these fetish, extreme sexual pleasures, handcuffs, and dildos, and your husband is even suggesting anal sex. And I'm like, yo, where's all this coming from? Like, we used to be okay. We used to be okay with our regular stuff. Like, it is possible that, he's gone out, he's seen something. And when a man that you haven't complained about his erection or his 1 minute business or his lack of stamina, all of a sudden becomes very much aware of himself. The question is, I have not complained for 5 years. Why is it a problem now? Why are you all of a sudden now interested in Viagra, aphrodisiac? And then when you even do your 1 minute, when I am lying down not complaining, you are having a problem with it. I feel so bad, man. I didn't try, baby. It's okay. I'm going to fix this up. Like, what's happening? Like, so then this could tell you that, Chale, wako baby, I'm a girl, be a catcher, and say, brah, if you don't up your game, your wife will leave you. Your wife will cheat on you. This game, this 2 minute job, brah, it's not good. And so then he comes home, he becomes so much aware of himself. So that's another thing that's another sign that could tell you that your spouse could be doing something. There's also the general confusion. Confusion. Your wife or your husband becomes a little bit jittery in the house. Absent-mindedness, dropping things, trailing off in conversation. And like I said, a lot of people are caught in infidelity not because primarily they set out to go and cheat. So many things can happen. A typical example, your wife is a secretary, the company is downsizing, she is scared, she's going to be fired. In fact, her name has come. that she's going to be fired, and this job means a lot. Goes to boss crying, boss moves from his desk to come and sit where this woman is and trying to console this woman. Hands are rubbing through hands, and then the next moment, Charlie, they're on the sofa. And the thing just didn't happen once, it kept happening. You know, this woman is caught in a position where on a normal day she wouldn't have been. So every day she is with the husband, she is scared. And then she's always jittery. She's always confused. She looks at the husband and there is this guilt. And you know, human beings are spiritual. Take it or leave it. And when something is wrong, that's what we call the guts feeling. You realize that there is something wrong with your wife. Or there is something wrong with your husband. Because it is also possible that your husband also is in this situation. He is not really somebody who set out to do that, but it has happened. And you realize that, this is not my husband. This man doesn't seem to be interested again. He's become all lethargic, trudging through the day, not really doing much, not really putting in effort. He's lost his glitter. This is not my husband. You get to find out that there is something that is eating them up. And again, there could be other things that will also make a person behave that way. It could be money. It could be the fact that they are going to be sacked, or anything could make somebody act that way. But usually, when those things are not explicable, it's becoming very difficult. For instance, you ask the person, I think there is something wrong with you. What is the problem? And they are evasive with the answer, or they don't want to talk about it. Anytime you bring up the subject, they avoid it. Because, I mean, the thing is, they can't lie about it. You know, or even when they want to lie, they fear that the lie is even going to get out of hand and make a lot of things come up. So then the confusion, the general lack of interest and everything, it persists. You know, and the annoying bit is when your spouse keeps asking you, baby, are you okay? When you wish they will not even ask you a question, then they will come and say, baby, are you okay? It is like, God, can you just keep quiet and stop tormenting me? You know, it's a sign that something might have gone on, something is going on, or something will go on, and you may want to work about it. Another thing that I also like to talk about is the fact that sometimes, all of a sudden, your spouse becomes very critical of you. Then again, being critical of somebody is a normal thing. Sometimes you are just, you don't like the way they dress. Listen, I've been saying this since we married. I don't like the way you look. I don't like your hairstyle. I don't like this. I don't like that. You've been saying this since. That's different. But where this person is he's cool. Everything is fine. Then all of a sudden, your husband is more interested in your hair. Again, it's possible that this new girl just was employed. This new girl is just slaying everybody in the office. And the husband is thinking, well, I want my wife to slay. So then he starts talking about the hair. Or it is actually possible that there is this girlfriend that has captured him and he judges you through the appearance of the girlfriend. So you don't dress like my girlfriend. You don't look like the girlfriend. You don't appear like in fact, you don't even talk like the girlfriend. He becomes very critical. And most often, it's in a very comparative terms. So whenever he tells you, or whenever your wife tells you, for instance, if it is the woman who is having the affair, whenever the woman tells you that you don't dress well, she doesn't just end it there, that baby, you need to dress well. No. She actually goes on to prescribe certain dresses. You see, you need to wear this tight jacket. At least even if you say, you need to wear this tight jacket like the way Les's Bill has been wearing his tight jacket. At least there is a name to it. But she will never mention a name. Baby, you need to just wear this tight jacket. And then she will go and buy the jacket for you. Sometimes you wonder, where did you know how to get, where did you find these jackets? Like, how did you get to know where to get these jackets? Like, and you realize that she is trying to mold you in the image of somebody because unconsciously she's transferring the pleasures she's getting from outside onto you. And men also do that a lot. They start complaining about the woman's size. They start complaining about her weight. They start complaining about her color. They even start complaining about, okay, let me not say that. Are we learning something? Are we learning something? Oh, who said no? And then your spouse also suddenly becomes interested in social activities that usually are out of town. And usually when he or she is going to these places, they don't want to go with you. Oh, we are going for this program, XYZ. Oh, can we go together? No. When we go, you'll be bored. You know these boys. My boys are very rowdy. And when we go, you'll be bored. Oh, you know my girls, Charlie, this is girls matter. Let's just go and come. And then, my hairdresser's brothers Alsatian dog supplier's wife's cousin died at Nkweu or Kweu Nkwetia. And we have to go and bury her or him or whoever. And we are going Friday after work and we are coming Monday straight to work. And you're like, so can't I go with you? No, baby, this one. You know, when we go, you don't know anybody there. Myself, I'm even struggling to go, but it's because of my relationship with the hairdresser. That's why I have to go. And then consistently they are traveling. They are becoming more interested in things that they don't want you to go or you wouldn't be interested in. Then you know that it is possible that there is somebody they want to spend time with. Another thing I also like to say is usually when you are in the house, your spouse is bored. They don't want to talk to you. But immediately you are going out, or you sit in the car, or they sit in the car that they want to go out, you realize that there is this life that suddenly come upon them. Of course, when they are in the house with you, they can't chat. They can't be WhatsApping. They can't be giggling. They can't be saying the things they want to say. You know, so once they leave your presence and they are alone, you see that life coming to them. Then they get to be away. They get to talk about their personal fantasies. They get to share things. They get to go to places and do things. So usually when you are alone in the house with your partner and you realize that there is this miasma around, you know, the house is all heavy, gloomy. You haven't done anything. And the caveat here, at least it is possible you would have done something. It is possible it's something you have said or, you know, an unresolved conflict. But you realize that you can't put your finger on anything. But immediately she sits in the car or he sits in the car that he's going out, you see a change in him. The way he dresses, the way he talks, everything changes. Then you know that it's not good in, it's good outside. My time is pretty much up. Another thing I'd like us to talk about is privacy, which we know. That's why I didn't even start, you know, from the beginning. Privacy, when all of a sudden they become very protective of their phones. I mean, this is your husband, you could use his phone to take pictures, you know, do selfie, do duck face, and, you know, pout and be all silly on the phone and everything. Then all of a sudden your husband doesn't want you to touch the phone again. In fact, even the pictures, he has put password on the pictures. No, baby, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like I'm trying to hide anything. You know, these girls, Charlie, they will send you anything, and it's not like as it is. You may think and you may read different meanings into it. Brother, I mean, really, Charlie, if a girl sends you something and you also respond in the same measure, what do you mean by it? It's not what I think it is. And then the girls who do the same thing, WhatsApp, plenty password. Even their call log, there is password on it. Unnecessary privacy, the guy will be batting. Ladder all over the place. And then the ringtones are always very high when they are not by the phone. So immediately the phone rings, they run, come and pick it with a ladder. I mean, you know that, you know, things are going down and they wouldn't want you to get. Adam, my time is up. The final thing I would like to talk about is when they suddenly pick certain terms, habits, interests, and you can't actually find it in a context. They haven't changed their jobs. They haven't changed their churches. They haven't changed their location. They are still the same people doing the same everyday routine. But all of a sudden, you realize that there is a sudden interest. Your wife who doesn't like to read, she can't even read to save her life. Now she's reading John Grisham. Now she's reading Charles Dickens. She's reading Shakespeare. And then now your wife stays up till, like, what is this? Now when your wife is talking, she sounds like a man, using some masculine terms. Or when your husband is talking, you know, he all of a sudden knows the difference between size 12 and size 14 and size 15, and the fact that you need to do this, you need to trim your tummy to get this shape. And your wife suddenly knows so many things, or your husband suddenly knows so many things. Like, where are you getting all this thing from? Like, it's not like you suddenly made a friend. And trust me, when somebody is your friend and he's not like your buddy, but you don't pick their language, you don't pick their interest. You actually pick interest from people you are emotionally involved with, or you are vulnerable around, or people you see as your mentors. So, ladies and gentlemen, these things are some of the telltales. Like I said, they are not in absolutes. So when you are looking at them, look at them with care, with tact, with a lot of discernment. But when you see some of these things manifesting in your marriage, it is time you may want to have a conversation with your spouse. It is time you may want to introduce somebody, a professional, into your marriage to have a conversation so that you are sure you are on the same page. But most importantly, if you can, pray about it. Thank you very much.
Hello. Have we learned something so far? Are we sure? Okay, great. Do we have questions for PG? And this time we don't want to send questions or write questions on pieces of papers. So you can send your question via WhatsApp to 0262 0262 010 931. 0262 010 931. But you probably want answers to your questions right now. So we have microphones mounted in between like we do always. You can get to the microphone and then you can ask your question and we have it answered immediately. Anybody out there who has a question, a comment, a contribution? Did I see a hand up? Okay, great.
Okay, PG, thanks for your talk.
Right.
You did mention about sudden changes.
Right.
But I realize a human being is a dynamic person. So sometimes we develop as we grow.
Yep.
How then do you differentiate when your wife or your husband should develop new interest in certain things they didn't like at first?
Okay. Right. So that's what I said initially with the caveats that some of these things happen because human beings, sometimes for like a woman, she may be going through a cycle in life. Then again, when somebody suddenly develops interest in something, it could also be that maybe boys have gathered, they've decided that, let's start playing tennis or let's form a book club. Now, if your spouse suddenly develops an interest in something, I think that is something that they can talk about with you, right? When they come home, it becomes a conversation. Oh, Charlie, want to start some book club. So it's something they can put a finger on or they can help you understand or, take you along. Oh, Charlie, there is this person who is at our workplace who is now teaching us personal grooming. Maybe they brought this HR person who teaches us personal grooming. So, Charlie, they are putting a lot of stress on us. Now we are giving clothing allowance, or now they expect us to dress in a particular way. So that these sudden changes are in context, okay? And your spouse talks about it. But you know where the person is all of a sudden just bubbling? Like you see all these butterflies around the person, like the person is just glowing. Or the person is all of a sudden so interested in something, like something very weird. Or something on a normal day they may not even probably be interested in. And they can't tell you what it is. Okay? You try to engage them and they are very evasive with the reasons behind it. Then you know that there is a problem. But then again, I said, some people are naturally secretive. Much ado about nothing. And so for those people too, you need to cut them some slack. But ordinarily, when somebody suddenly changes, and then they can't actually put a finger on it or tell you what it is or why. It could be that there is, in fact, the why can't actually be told.
Has your question been answered? Any more questions? Any more contributions? Comments? Can PG sit down? All right, if we're satisfied, please let's give it up for PG Sebastian. PG, thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Could your partner be having an affair? And indeed, he issued some caveats before. So all the signs don't necessarily mean that your partner is having an affair.